A red letter N unfolds into a spectrum of colors.
A Netflix series. Text appears. Columbia Correctional Facility, Portage, Wisconsin. Jeff stands in a line of inmates.
117-252, Dahmer.
Jeff reaches the front of the line. A prison guard hands him a stack of mail. Jeff thumbs through it as he steps away.
119-942, Bryant. 116-654.
Another guard escorts Jeff to a glass-walled cell.
Hey, I put in a request for 2 cyanide capsules and a razor blade. Can you check on those for me?
The guard shuts Jeff in his cell and departs. A thin wall-mounted cot rests across from a metal toilet and sink. Jeff sits on the cot and leans his back against a white cinder block wall. He tosses aside 2 religious pamphlets from his stack of mail, then regards a light blue envelope with handwriting on it. Jeff sets aside the rest of the mail and pulls a letter from the already open envelope. He unfolds the letter, finding a comic page inside.
Dear Jeff, my friends think I'm crazy for writing to you, but I wanted to say hi. Do you know that you're a Halloween costume now? 3 different guys at my school. One is you for Halloween, and everybody freaked out. And now they say next year nobody's allowed to come dressed up. They made a comic book about you. Did you know?
Jeff unfolds the comic page. The panel depicts some of his crimes.
I think it's cool. I've always been into scary stuff.
A boy lies dead in one of the panels.
Will you send me back, like, a drawing or something? And I sent you $5.
Jeff looks in the envelope. He pulls out a banknote.
I'll send you more if you write back. Your biggest fan, Alice.
Jeff lifts his head. He looks toward the glass wall at the front of his cell, then retrieves a notepad and pencil from under his cot. He flattens his left hand on the front page and traces it with his right. He fills in a jagged line at the base of the hand, making it look severed, with droplets coming off of it. Jeff glances at the letter. He writes, "Hi, Alice. Thank you. Love, Jeff." 2 exclamation points after thank you form a smiley face. In a mess hall, Jeff sits alone at one of many metal tables, staring down at his untouched food tray. He looks around at the other inmates, all wearing the same drab dark blue attire as him. Jeff looks at his food, cracking a slight smirk. He holds up a chicken leg.
You ever notice how this looks just like a human thumb?
Others glance, then ignore him.
At least that's how they look when I was done with them.
Jeff stands.
No. Actually, more like this.
He licks and sucks ketchup off the end of a bone.
You're a fucking freak, dude.
A bearded black inmate with short locks glares at Jeff as he passes.
I don't like that, son.
Jeff stops. They lock eyes. Jeff looks away from the man, then shrugs.
My fans do.
He walks away. The inmate with locks stares after him. In a motel room, Glenda's daughter Sandra helps her pack.
You know you don't have to go back there. You could stay with us for as long as you need to.
Oh, I won't be anyone's burden, and that's the end of it.
But Mama,
It's
not...
the end of it. But thank you. Go get the rest of that stuff.
Cops and reporters stand around Glenda's apartment building, the Oxford Apartments. Onlookers stare from across the street. Sandra drives up in a boxy white sedan. Glenda rides with her.
They ever gonna let up?
Give it time. Something else will come along.
They continue past. 2 news vans flank the building's entrance. A cop stands guard at the door. Inside, Glenda takes out her keys as she and Sandra approach her door. She looks toward Jeff's apartment.
I'll get it.
Sandra picks up the dropped keys. Glenda stares at Jeff's closed door.
Come on, Mama.
A warning sign marks the frame of Jeff's door. At a table in Glenda's apartment, Sandra watches as Glenda pulls something out of her purse, a framed photo. She sets it on a nearby surface, then takes off her glasses. She looks over at the vent on her wall. Sandra follows her gaze.
No, I'm sorry. No, this is crazy.
What?
Mama, you can't stay here, and I won't let you.
Glenda moves to the coffee maker.
I could still smell it. What he did to those people. The death, murder, I know you smell it too.
She turns to face Sandra.
If you want to be stubborn and not admit it, okay. But don't lie, you taught me better.
And where else am I supposed to go? Huh? Couldn't afford it even if I wanted to.
Well, then let me help you.
Sandra, no. He has taken enough from this world. He's not taking my home. I won't let him.
Glenda crosses her arms.
Well, then promise me this. If you get scared at all, go where the others go. You know where everyone else is going at night, right?
I'm fine.
Promise me.
Okay, I promise. Goodness. Will you stop? You acting like Jeff Dahmer gonna jump out the shadows and try to get me. He's locked up. Gone. Forever.
Sandra hugs her.
Okay. Okay, well, just call me, at least, and please get some rest.
I will.
Okay?
I will.
In his cell, Jeff reads a handwritten letter with a heart drawn on top. He sets it aside with a banknote. He pulls a $20 bill from another envelope and picks up more mail. He spots a guard passing outside his cell.
Hey,
The guard comes back.
if I gave you $20, you think you could get me something?
He slaps the 20 against the glass. Later, a blurry prison corridor comes into focus. In Jeff's cell, a small tape player rests on the floor beside his cot. Jeff lies asleep with a sock over his eyes.
Turn that off!
A frizzy-haired white guard.
Why? I was just trying to get some sleep.
Turn it off and give it to me!
Jeff sits up and puts on his glasses.
It's mine. You can't just take it.
Give it to me or you're going in the hole.
Jeff frowns. He ejects the cassette tape. The guard, Officer Kelly, enters the cell, scowling. Jeff throws down his blanket. He hands the tape to Kelly.
Well, it says I can't have that.
Like that, huh? Sounds of people getting killed.
It's whale noises. They're soothing to me. It helps me sleep. I can't turn off the lights in here.
Yeah? Well, take it up with the warden.
I paid for that. You can't just take it.
Fuck you, Dahmer. Should have given you the electric chair.
I asked him to. Gave me 900 years instead. Come on, man. I'll just get more whale noises, dude.
In low-angled sunlight, Shirley steps out onto her front porch. She stops as her eyes sweep across the neighborhood, then proceeds to a mailbox standing at her curb. She pulls out her mail, glancing up before looking through it. Among several standard envelopes and other mail, she finds one large manila envelope. Shirley opens the manila envelope. She pulls out a handwritten letter paperclipped to a comic book, with bloody text spelling out Jeff's name on the cover.
Dear Miss Hughes, Would you be so kind as to autograph this for me? I've included a return envelope with postage for your convenience. Thank you. Josh Mahoney, Champaign, Illinois.
Jeffrey Dahmer, an unauthorized biography of a serial killer. Shirley scowls, then lifts her eyes. Jeff stands across the street, then vanishes after a van passes. In an office, Shirley sits across from a balding white man.
I understand your anger, Miss Hughes, but civil suits can take years. And even if we win, it's unclear how much money we'll actually get from the city or the small publishing companies like the one that released the comic book.
Mr. Goldstein, I'm not doing this for money. No amount of money can bring my son Tony back. This is an evil book. Evil with evil intent. Somebody has got to pay for this and be held accountable.
Agreed. Here, I want you to look at this.
A book review.
Jeffrey Dahmer's father has written a book. And my guess is it's going to sell way more copies than some comic book.
I got to know Lionel and his wife Sherry a little during the trial. They seem like decent people.
Look, on top of suing the city, I say we go after Dahmer and his family. Intercept any money they might make from book deals, movie, TV rights, paid interviews, hell, even small donations that Dahmer's fans might be sending him in prison. And they are. I read that in the paper. Don't let him make one goddamn dime.
I don't know. I mean, suing the city, going after Dahmer, that feels right. Going after his family, after what they've been through, too.
They could make millions. Sure, they might be decent people, but I don't think he's going to be sharing any of that money with you or any of the other victims' families, not voluntarily anyway. So, are you up for this fight?
Shirley lowers her eyes and works her fingers. She purses her lips, then nods. At a restaurant, Sherry reads a review to Lionel.
Lionel Dahmer's analysis of his hopelessly flawed relationship with his son Jeffrey is particularly unpleasant for a parent to read. It might be possible to dismiss a father's story were it not for the palpable pain and despair that gusts from the text. What makes Lionel Dahmer's narrative so compelling, is that he is trying in this ascription to peer not just into the soul of his son, but into his own.
She puts it down.
Oh, honey, this is fantastic.
It's pretty good, I think.
What does your agent think?
Len? Oh, he's excited. Yeah, it's New York Times, so it's like.
Oh, honey, this is fantastic. This deserves a toast, huh?
They raise margaritas.
To my hubby, the best-selling author.
Hey, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
In the prison, Jeff mops in a weight room. He looks through a window at a TV in another room.
And we're back with Lionel and Sherry Dahmer, whose book, Father's Story, about serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer, is about to hit the shelves. Now, Lionel, over the break you mentioned there was some interest in turning the book into a movie.
There's a possibility.
It's called an option, and there's a couple of guys named Ambler and Dickinson in Kansas City that would like to make a feature film of
Hey, Dahmer.
the whole story.
Let's go.
A father's story.
Sorry.
The father's story.
What am I supposed to do?
And you'd cooperate.
My dad's on TV.
There's any
Jeff resumes mopping.
casting ideas who would play the two of you?
I don't know. John Boyd, maybe. Faye Dunaway.
What do you mean I have to pay him the profits?
In an office.
How can we do that? There are no profits.
Well, in a way, that's the silver lining. The book hasn't sold the 50,000 copies that would have turned a profit, so there's nothing to hand over.
But what... So if it does?
Then, yes, the judge said that the families would be entitled to those profits. They're going after Jeff's money, too.
Well, Jeff doesn't have any money.
Well, he earns 25 cents an hour working in the prison, and people send him money.
Well, all he does is buy coffee and cigarettes with that.
Well, he won't be able to anymore. The judge said that the families would be entitled to that.
Oh, geez, this is just this.
Look, I understand that people are in pain. I do. But really? 25 cents?
Who exactly, which one of them is this?
It's all of the families.
At the Synthasomphone's house, a photo of Konarak stands on a side table, flanked by lit candles. Family members fill the living room with several sitting on the floor. The father, Sunthon, sits on a couch staring off absently. He puffs on a cigarette. Konarak's bespectacled brother Samsak, who Jeff attacked, sits on another couch. He stands as a young man approaches and puts an arm around him. Several others fill the dining room, where plates of food cover a table. Samsak sits. Sunthon answers the phone.
Hello?
Why don't you go back to where you came from?
Hello?
Nobody wants you here. Get on a fucking boat and go back.
He lowers the phone with a creased brow. Samsak watches him. Later, Samsak lies shirtless in his bed, fast asleep. He wakes and looks toward his right wrist, finding it bound to the headboard. He moves his legs, tugging at straps holding down his ankles. He lifts his head and widens his eyes. Jeff stands at the foot of the bed.
Relax. I just want to take some pictures.
Samsak gapes.
Come on. I want to show you something.
Jeff exits Samsak's bedroom. Samsak looks to the side. His father kneels in shallow water, now filling the room. He sands a small wooden boat, wearing goggles. Samsak opens his mouth as if yelling. Sunthon continues sanding. Samsak flails his bound limbs. Sunthon lifts his goggles. Sunthon, we've got to get out of here. He goes back to sanding. Fully dressed, Samsak sits on the edge of his bed.
You knew about him!
He looks toward the door. Samsak descends the stairs into Catherine's basement. He approaches the workshop and stops, his mouth hanging open. Through the open door, a shirtless Konarak sits facing him. Behind Konarak, Jeff stands at the workbench. Jeff turns towards Samsak and pulls back some of Konarak's hair.
Watch what happens.
He holds a power drill. Samsak screams. Samsak wakes in his bed, his chest heaving. Another sibling lies asleep in another bed nearby. Samsak checks his unbound limbs. He sits up and puts on his glasses. Samsak glances at his sibling, then heads downstairs. He glances into the living room as he passes, where a handful of people remain on the floor. He passes his oldest brother and others in the dining room as he heads into the kitchen. His mother, Samdi, sits at a table, cutting up photographs. At the sink, Samsak fills a glass with water. He turns toward his weeping mother. Samsak, what are you doing? Cutouts of Konarak litter the table in front of her. Samsak, why are you cutting him out of our pictures? Samdi, we don't say his name anymore. We don't talk about what happened. And we don't say his name. In the dining room, Samsak's brother averts his eyes. Samdi lifts one of many photos out of a box, a portrait of a smiling Konarak. Samdi, my baby boy. At a well-attended police union event.
Today, we are gathered to celebrate bravery, valor, resolve, and exemplary courage. Courage in the face of danger, in the face of great doubt.
Elsewhere,
Heroes.
a group of civilians.
That's what I see when I look out across this room. Each one of you represents the best of us. Everyday citizens driven in your life not by reward, but by principle. to do what is right and just.
When the mobs came, these two men stood their ground. And we stood beside them, and we fought for them, and for all of us who put on a badge and serve, as a hallowed reminder that we take care of our own.
Facing great obstacles, this brave woman went above and beyond to try and protect her community, displaying unyielding resolve, typifying the great spirit of Milwaukee. I'm pleased to call to the stage this year's recipient of the Citizens Merit Award.
It is with great pride and honor that I call to the stage the recipients of the Milwaukee Police Association's Officers of the Year Award.
Glenda Cleveland.
Glenda rises from the group of civilians.
John Bowserzak and Joseph Gabrish.
At the event, the spotlight shines on the two officers who returned Conorak to Jeff. They share a hug. People rise from tables around the large room. In a much smaller room, Glenda shakes hands with Ariola. At the union event, the two cops beam as they make their way to a stage. In the smaller room, Glenda stands at a lectern facing the other civilians.
Thank you, Chief. This is a step in the right direction. Honestly, I'm at a loss for words.
She holds an award plaque.
I will accept this award on one condition, that in the future you do better.
Ariola lowers his eyes.
This is for the Conorak boy and for all the other victims.
On the stage, the cops raise their joined hands.
Don't let this happen again.
Glenda returns to her seat. In an office, Soonthone and his oldest son, Anuke, meet with a dark-haired East Asian lawyer, Emily Sue.
We intend to sue the city in federal court for violating your son's right to equal protection. The police had a constitutional duty to protect your son, and they failed. We seek $10 million in damages for your family. I know that even that amount of money will do nothing to ease the suffering that you're feeling right now, but it sends the right message. A sum like that goes a long way in making your lives just a little bit easier.
Anuke to his dad. They're going to sue the city for $10 million.
Also, I understand that they're auctioning off Jeffrey Dahmer's belongings, and I'm going to make sure 100% of those proceeds go to the victims. Which, of course, includes your family.
At home, the family members and others pray, facing the photo of Conorak, with an old woman at the front. Old woman, here, Kolak, look, here are all your favorites. All your family. Your friends. We're all here with you, look. And we have some jerky for you, and pork stew. Even those cakes you like, look. Somsak glares. At home, Glenda watches TV on her couch. Cigarette smoke wafts out of her mouth. She sips from a glass. She lifts her eyes. Glenda grabs her remote. She puts out her cigarette. She eyes the vent. Glenda bows her head and covers her ears. She wakes on her couch. Glenda puts on her glasses and picks up her remote. She heads into her bedroom. Glenda comes down the stairs in her building's lobby, carrying a blanket and pillow. She looks over the railing. Several other residents sit and lie together on the floor in a hallway with their own pillows and blankets. An older, bespectacled black woman looks up from her book and smiles. Glenda comes down and sits facing her.
Thank you. You're welcome. I've seen you in the building before.
Dana, 201, into the hall.
Well, it's nice to finally meet you. Glenda.
I read about you in the paper trying to help that boy. That was a good thing you tried to do.
Yeah, well, good as it was, what'd it get us? Us still can't sleep in our own bed.
You having nightmares?
Glenda nods.
Me too. But this is where we're all coming for comfort, right?
I told my daughter, I said, I'll come down if I get scared. You know, I say, I'm fine, Sandra. Don't worry about me, Sandra. He ain't gonna get the best of me. But he's in my nerves and my brain. I can't get it to stop.
I got arthritis real bad, both knees. Hate going up and down stairs. But when I got trash to take out, I take it up to the 3rd floor, down the hall, all the way down to the alley, just so I don't have to walk past that some bitch's apartment.
Next time your trash need to go out, you set it right outside your door.
Glenda pats Dana's leg.
That's sweet of you, Glenda, but no need to.
Oh, girl, we got to look out for each other.
Okay.
She pulls her blanket over herself and rubs above her eyebrow. In his darkened kitchen, Soon-Thon sits alone at the table, smoking a cigarette. He stares off absently as he exhales smoke. He reaches for a phone on the wall behind him.
Get up, baby. Fucking get up.
Hello?
$10 million, huh? You fucking gook. How about you leave well enough alone and fuck off back to your rice paddy?
He lays the handset on the table. In the morning, at the Oxford Apartments, the residents continue dozing in the lobby. Sopa approaches the group.
Excuse me. Excuse me, everyone. Can I have your attention, please?
The residents wake and sit up.
I am sorry, but due to safety reasons, I have been told I can no longer allow residents to sleep in the lobby. But after speaking with the owners of the building, for those wishing to remain, I am pleased to inform that your rent will be lowered by 25%. For those wishing to break your lease, there will be no penalty in doing so. Thank you.
Sopa steps away. Later, Glenda, wearing black, approaches a set of glass double doors with crosses on them. She steps into a lobby. A man and woman, also wearing black, stand off to the side, chatting. Glenda smooths her long black hair and puts her glasses in her purse. She approaches a set of wooden double doors. She enters a small chapel. 3 women in white stand by a closed casket at the far end of the room. Others, wearing black, sit in pews. Glenda turns toward a white, balding priest, standing by the doors.
Excuse me. My name is Glenda Cleveland.
Yes, I know who you are. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm George Hecker. I helped bring the family over from Laos. They never found a whole body. You know, just parts. Took a while, but we finally raised the funds for this. The Archdiocese chipped in for the casket so we could have a proper memorial.
I was wondering if I could... This is the boy's mother?
Yes.
I don't want to,
2 women lead a weeping Somdi away from the casket.
Maybe I could speak with his father.
Certainly, yes.
George shows Glenda to a pew in the middle of the room where Soon-Thon sits alone.
I beg your pardon.
Soon-Thon looks up. George gestures to Glenda. She sits.
Mr. Sinthasapan, I'm Glenda Cleveland. I was the one who called the police about your son. I live in the building.
Soon-Thon nods, regarding her evenly.
I am so sorry.
She grips his hand with both of hers.
I knew something was wrong.
Tears well in her eyes.
And I never should have trusted the police when they said everything was okay. 'Cause it wasn't.
It's okay.
No, it isn't.
You do everything you can.
Glenda turns toward the front of the room. The portrait of Conorak, smiling, stands near his casket, with candles burning on either side. At a nursing home, Lionel approaches a reception desk.
Hi. I'm here to see Catherine Dahmer.
In Catherine's room.
So now, the movie isn't happening. Producers got cold feet, I guess. I don't know if it's even a good idea, you know? But all I ever really wanted to do was to help other parents to, you know, look out for the warning signs.
Catherine lies face up in bed. Her lips twitch as she stares absently at the ceiling.
I'd have had Raquel Welch play you, Ma. I know you always liked her. She's been good, too.
Lionel nods to himself. He reaches toward Catherine.
He really loved you, Ma, in his own way. And you did your best with him, as well as anybody could. You're a good mom to me, that's for sure. Okay,
Lionel stands. He kisses Catherine's forehead.
I'll come back see you tomorrow.
At night, a white young man takes photos of two friends outside the Oxford apartments. Glenda and Sandra come around the corner, pushing a stroller.
Yes,
Oh, one more.
One friend mimes cutting the other's throat.
What exactly do you boys think you're doing?
Nothing. We're just having some fun.
Fun?
Sandra, calm down.
This isn't an amusement park. It's my mama's home.
Hey. We are on the sidewalk, which is public property. We're allowed to take pictures. Hey, what are
Sandra hurls the man's camera at the ground.
You had no right to do that!
People were murdered in here. Do y'all get that? Go home. Go.
The men depart.
Sorry, Ma. I shouldn't have lost my temper like that.
Come on, let's get the baby in the house. You all right?
In Glenda's apartment.
So, Jeff, one of the questions your dad has in the book is, when did you begin to slip?
Is it me, or does he look like he gained some weight?
Obsession,
Yeah, it looks like it.
dark fantasy.
Must be eating pretty good in prison.
Just couldn't return.
Dana sits with them.
I think it was around age 14 or 15. Started having obsessive thoughts.
At a restaurant, a TV plays an interview with Jeff.
Violence, intermingled with sex.
Patrons stare at the screen.
Was it the killing that excited you?
A white-haired man takes note.
Or was it what happened after the killing?
He gets up. At home, Somsak watches.
No, the killing was just a means to an end. That was the least
Samdi, I don't want you watching that in this house.
Just turn it off.
That's why I tried to
At Glenda's.
create living zombies with muriatic acid in the drill.
One of those failed experiments at creating a living zombie was conducted on this 14-year-old boy. Jeffrey had drilled a hole in his head and poured in acid, a crude attempt at lobotomy that none of his victims survived.
Glenda shuts off the TV.
You all right, Mama?
Sandra holds her baby.
It ain't right. I don't know why he gets to go on national TV to tell his side of the story.
I hear you, girl, but maybe if we can understand what motivated him, we can...
I have had it. Living underneath his shadow. This is not some Halloween story.
I know.
This is my life. And who is it?
It's the police.
Glenda answers the door. Sopa stands behind two white cops.
Yes?
Glenda Cleveland,
Yes?
may we come in?
No, you may not.
Your landlord told us we might be able to find a Sandra Smith here. She's your daughter, yes?
I'm Sandra Smith.
One of the cops grabs Sandra.
Miss Smith, you have the right to remain silent.
I didn't do anything. Wait a minute. Why are you arresting my daughter?
Got a complaint from a young man, said your daughter assaulted him and destroyed his camera earlier tonight. He's pressing charges.
But that young man was trespassing.
Did your daughter assault him and break his camera?
Glenda tightens her lips.
What precinct are y'all taking her to?
District 1 over on State
I
Street.
know where it is.
The cops leave with Sandra. Outside, she looks out from the back of their car. Glenda watches them go, holding Sandra's baby. Dana touches her arm. In an office lobby, text on a wooden wall behind a dark-haired receptionist reads, Zilber, Real Estate Development. The white-haired man, Zilber, walks past.
You see this? They're auctioning off all that Jeffrey Dahmer stuff.
Morning, Rita.
What? Gold or whatnot?
Yeah, I want that drill that he made the zombies with.
Horn box.
The rotund, light-skinned Zilber enters his spacious office. He presses a button on a phone.
Rita, get me Dean Reynolds at Public Works.
Later, he holds the handset to his ear.
Well, whatever that number is, I'm telling you, I'll do 100K over it. Okay? But I get every single fucking item, okay?
Elsewhere, household items fall on a pile.
Yeah, right there! That all of it?
A worker holds up a power drill. Zilber watches.
You put that down right now! That's my property, asshole!
The worker looks over.
Oh, don't you fucking look at me like that. Your union rep's a dear friend of mine. I'll get your ass fired, you sack of shit!
Workers step away. Zilber beckons a bulldozer toward the large pile of items.
Fucking bury it!
The bulldozer plows through the items. Elsewhere, Soonthone and Anuke meet with Emily Sue.
The judge dismissed our claim that the police had a constitutional duty to protect your son. But the city has agreed to settle, conceding that they violated his rights to equal protection under the law. And now the number's not what we'd like it to be. They're offering $850,000. But it's my advice that you take it. That way you can finally move on and start with the healing process.
At night, Soonthone sits alone in his living room. He exhales smoke. He puts out his cigarette and goes to a screen door. Zilber stands on the other side.
I'm Joe Zilber. You don't know me.
Outside.
I know the proceeds for the auction were going to go to the victims. But I just couldn't handle the idea that that stuff would be a collector's item, right? So I paid a little more and made sure it was all destroyed.
On the porch, Zilber hands Soonthone an envelope.
This is your cut of it. Split between 11 families. 32,000.
Soonthone lifts his eyes, his stern expression unchanged. Inside, Soonthone picks up a cordless phone and sits in the living room.
Hello?
Why don't you take that $850,000 and get on a nice big fucking plane and go back to the fucking jungle, you slanty-eyed piece.
Samdi snatches the phone.
You never call again, or I make you sorry.
At the police station, two giggling white cops hang up a phone.
What are you two doing?
Hey, Sarge.
I thought you clocked out.
We're just finishing up. Just making a phone call. Night, Sarge.
Elsewhere, Ron sits at a desk.
So, Kareem, how have you been since our last talk?
A bearded black man sits across from him.
Okay, I guess.
Well, you look healthy.
Yeah. Since I tested positive, I've kind of cut myself off from people. I don't go out anymore. Not to the club. Not to visit friends. Even family.
At night, Ron stands with two friends outside Club 219.
I don't know. I just feel ashamed. It's hard to be around people. It hurts too much.
Inside the club, Ron moves through the dance floor. He waves and joins his friends beside the floor. He hugs them one at a time.
I understand how you feel.
Yo, don't bullshit me.
I'm not. Believe me, I understand.
Ron grooves on the dance floor. One of his friends, a slender young black man with glasses, holds his arms high. He turns Ron around. The two of them dance with their other friend, a mustached black man. Ron spins with his arms held high. He stops. His smile quickly fades as he lowers his arms. Jeff stands at the bar, leering at Ron. Ron stares back, frozen. Jeff is gone.
You can't hide in your apartment forever. Sooner or later, you're gonna have to face your fears and start living again.
At his desk, Ron holds out his hand. The bearded man, Kareem, takes it. At the Oxford Apartments, Glenda approaches her door, carrying a grocery bag. Sopa walks toward her.
Glenda.
Mr. Princewell.
Hey. So, you'll be getting an official notice, but I want to let you know that the city is buying the building. And it's being demolished.
Demolished? So, they just gonna kick us out?
They're gonna provide relocation expenses for all the tenants. But yes, you'll need to move.
How long we got?
60 days.
And what are they gonna replace it with?
Don't know. I heard maybe a park.
They should do some sort of a memorial, you know, so people don't forget the victims. Something that will honor their memory. That's the least they could do.
I'll be sure to tell them. I'm sorry, Glenda, for everything.
Thank you. You're a good man, Mr. Princewell.
Glenda offers a tight-lipped grin. Sopa steps away. Glenda enters her apartment. Outside, in daylight, a crowd stands behind police barricades some distance from the building. Text appears. 2 months later. Glenda and Sandra watch as a crane towering above the street swings a wrecking ball into the side of the building. Glenda spots Jeff gazing out from one of the building's windows. She places a hand to her chest. Jeff steps away from the window. Sandra looks over and puts her arms around her mother.
I am weak, but thou art strong. Jesus, keep me from all wrong.
In a prison chapel, Jeff sits among a sparse crowd of mostly dark-skinned inmates. He sits in a middle row, with chairs empty on either side of him. A white guard stands by the door.
Close to thee.
A bald black man eyes Jeff from the row behind him. He leans forward. Jeff mumbles along with the song.
Granted, Jesus is my plea.
The bald man glances at the guard, then stabs Jeff in the neck. The other inmates flee. 2 guards restrain the bald man. Jeff lies on the floor, clutching his bleeding neck. Another guard helps press on the wound.
Mail for you.
In an infirmary, Jeff lies propped up on a medical bed. A guard drops a stack of mail on his lap. He steps aside, but remains in the room. A pamphlet on top of the stack bears an image of praying hands under the words, "God loves you." Jeff removes a rubber band binding the stack and looks through his mail. Jeff pulls a card out of a red envelope with the text, "I thought I'd get ahead of my Christmas shopping." Below the text, an image of a bloodied Jeff in a Santa outfit holds a severed head. Jeff grins and glances toward the guard. A bandage covers the wound on his neck. Jeff opens the card and pulls out a handwritten letter. He unfolds the letter and reads,
Dear Jeff, I'm your biggest fan. I found this card at the local notion store. Pretty cool, right? I read in the paper they tried to kill you in prison. Made me laugh. They'll never kill you, man. You're like Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger now. Jeffrey Dahmer will never die. Can you send me an autograph? Enclosed is a return envelope. Merry Christmas. Love, Dave.
Jeff lowers the letter and looks at the card again. His chest slowly rises and falls. He stares off absently, then shifts his gaze. Audio description provided by International Digital Center, written by Stephen Christopher, voiced by Amanda Bruton. Credits: directed by Jennifer Lynch, written by Ian Brennan and David McMillan and Riley Smith. The title appears: Dahmer. Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. Created by Ryan Murphy and Ian Brennan. Starring Evan Peters, Richard Jenkins, Molly Ringwald, Michael Learned, and Niecy Nash. Executive producers Ryan Murphy, Ian Brennan, Alexis Martin Woodall, Eric Covton, Evan Peters, Janet Mock. Co-executive producers Scott Robertson, Sarah Stellwagen, Tanasi Popa. Supervising producer David McMillan. Consulting producer Rashad Robinson. Producers Todd Nenninger, Lou Eyrick, Todd Kubrak, Riley Smith, Regis Kimball, Richard Jenkins. Produced by Matthew Hart. Co-producer Scott James. Associate producer Kathia Sanchez Aldana. Director of photography Jason McCormick. Production designer Matthew Flood Ferguson. Edited by Robin August. Score composed and performed by Nick Cave and Warren Ellis. Casting by Robert J. Ulrich, CSA. Eric Dawson, CSA. Carol Kritzer, CSA. Copyright 2022 Netflix. Logos, Prospect Films, Ryan Murphy Television.
A red letter N unfolds into a spectrum of colors. A red letter N unfolds into a spectrum of colors.
A Netflix series. A work van labeled PDM Contractors pulls up to a brick house. Text appears: Chicago, Illinois, 1977. A young white man with long brown hair, Rick, exits from the passenger side. A portly older white man, John, gets out from the driver's side.
So you've never done construction work before?
No. Well, like I said, it's just stuff around the house, helping Mama, you know.
Well, don't sweat it. There's nothing to it. And honest to God, you got the right build for it.
Oh. Well, thanks.
Just come inside, answer a couple of questions, and don't even think of it like a job interview, okay?
Inside, John walks through a room with a painting of a clown on the wall. Rick scrunches up his face and covers his nose.
What's that smell?
Oh, you know, probably a dead raccoon or something down in the crawl space.
In the kitchen, John pours 2 cups of soda. He hands a fuller glass to Rick.
Here you go.
What's this?
What the heck do you... It's an RC Cola. The heck's wrong with you?
Sorry. Thanks.
Yeah.
Rick takes a big sip. They move to a table in an adjoining room.
So, you're looking for full-time, part-time?
Oh, I mean, I'll take as many hours as you can give me, you know.
Just depends on what you want to do. PDM stands for paint, design, and maintenance, so, you know, there's all kinds of work to be done.
John stares at Rick, who lifts a hand to his head.
You go to that bar a lot?
Rick looks aside. His shoulders rise.
'Cause I've never seen you in there before.
His vision distorts.
Here.
John takes his hands.
Let me show you something.
John pulls a rosary necklace from his breast pocket. He dangles the crucifix in front of Rick.
You Catholic?
He wraps the necklace around Rick's wrists, binding them. He grabs a pen.
The only knot I remember from Boy Scouts.
He sticks it through the necklace.
Tourniquet knot.
He turns it, tightening the necklace.
Gets real tight, don't it? Your handle turned purple, I leave it like that. Hey, look at me.
Rick obeys.
I want to show you a trick.
John, grinning, hits Rick in the face. John steps into the kitchen. Rick slumps in his chair, then barrels into him. John puts him in a headlock. Rick elbows John in the gut. He staggers backward, hunched over. John smacks him in the head with a frying pan. Rick falls. He clutches his face.
Come on, man. Quit struggling.
John drags him, leaving a blood trail on the floor.
You do not want to piss me off. Trust me.
He removes his belt, loops it around Rick's neck, and pulls. At a bathtub, John holds a naked and bound Rick's head underwater. He wears full clown attire and makeup.
Please, God. Please, no, please, God.
God can't help you. I'm God.
In the break room at work, Glenda watches a newscast.
Prison authorities in Illinois are preparing to execute one of America's most notorious serial killers. A federal judge on Wednesday ruled that the execution of John Wayne Gacy can go forward. He is scheduled to die by lethal injection on May 10th, giving the confessed murderer just 2 months more to live after a legal battle that has gone on for more than 14 years. Here now with more is Frank Courier.
It was 1978. The world first saw the horrifying images of body bags being pulled out of John Wayne Gacy's house near Chicago, and of Gacy.
A portly white woman stands at a nearby vending machine.
33 young men and boys condemned to die.
Thank God, you're finally gonna fry that guy. You do something like that, you don't deserve to live. Man's gonna burn in hell and not fast enough. He's the worst of the worst.
He's not the worst.
Who's worse than him?
Glenda turns toward her.
My neighbor.
The woman freezes.
Oh. You ever smell a dead body, Linda?
No.
I have. Jeff was cooking them up next door. Smell came right through the vent into my house. Can't get it out of my nose. That smell.
In the prison mess hall, Jeff sits alone, piling food into his mouth. At another table, an inmate goes to sit, not noticing a food tray on the seat. It stains his clothes.
The fuck? Sorry. My friend's sitting there.
Another inmate holds him back.
Fucking Looney Tunes, motherfucker!
They step away. Jeff smirks and continues eating. The inmate with locks, Scarver, glares from another table. Later, Jeff plays cards with a long-haired white inmate. Scarver plays with others nearby.
$50 for your autograph? No way. Come on, man. This gotta be worth at least what? $100? That's gonna be a collector's item. I'll give you a discount. Hey, I'll throw in some of these porno pics these girls have been sending me. I got no use for them. Porno pics?
Pussy's hanging out, everything.
Okay, JD.
In Scarver's cell.
Sorry, fellas. Don't get mad just because I'm getting a little sun today.
He looks up from a book as Jeff passes. Another inmate flips off Jeff as he passes his cell. In the mess hall, Jeff surreptitiously lays a food tray on a seat, then sits at his own table. A thin scar marks his neck. He smirks to himself and takes a bite of food. Jeff flinches as Scarver slams the planted food tray on Jeff's table.
Yo, I'm tired of your disrespect, Dahmer.
Disrespect?
Fanning your food, your fucking sick-ass jokes, selling your autographs like you some kind of celebrity or something. You think prison is a game? You think we here for your fucking amusement?
Hey, man, I didn't mean any disrespect. I'm just trying to pass my time. Same as you.
You ain't the same as me. I've atoned for my sins. Whatever you did to get in this joint, it's clear that you got zero remorse. I'm a Christian, and I find your behavior offensive.
Jeff shifts his gaze.
Okay.
Stop being an asshole and quit with your fucking games, all right?
Scarver, let's take a walk.
Scarver straightens and holds up a hand as a guard touches his shoulders. They walk away.
Jeez.
In a library.
And why exactly are you doing research on Mr. Dahmer?
I'm not doing research on him. I just want to see what he did to get in here and see what the big deal about him is. Time spent in solitary has put me out of the loop is all.
The librarian, a black-haired white woman using a wheelchair, types on a computer.
Well, Mr. Scarver, according to the system, because of your psychiatric condition, your access to certain viewing materials is restricted.
Look, like I told the doctors, just certain food causes me to have these psychotic breaks. You know, bread, refined sugar, and all that artificial crap.
Scarver sits and touches a gold cross on his necklace.
Ever since I changed my diet and found Christ, I've been okay. Come on, Miss G. Pretty please.
Later, Scarver sits at a table in the small library. He glances back as an inmate passes behind him, then reads a newspaper article about Jeff. He eyes the words cannibal, cannibalism, and the headline, Face of a Madman Who Killed 17 and Ate Them. Scarver covers his mouth and reads, Victims Imagined for Walking Zombies. Little Body Shop of Horrors. Scarver gapes. He sets one newspaper aside and grabs another. On the front page, a headline beside Conorak's photo reads, Police handed Laotian teen back to Dahmer. Highlighted excerpts from the article appear over Conorak's escape and return to Jeff's apartment. Managed to escape. The boy, naked, head bleeding on. He was returned by the cops. Child's body, hydrochloric acid, and 14 years old. Scarver's mouth hangs open. He eyes a mugshot of Jeff, then glances aside. He tears out the front page story about Conorak, then collects the rest of the papers and gets up. In a recreation room, Jeff stops mopping and walks toward a TV.
Drank a lot. Drank a lot. Yeah, he was abusive.
Maybe that's where it began to go wrong for John Gacy. He doesn't know, nor does he seem to care. He loses himself in his paintings.
This is Christ as I see him in myself, and it's monolithic because Christ to me is monolithic. He's all things to all people.
You're not worried about facing God?
Oh, I'm fairly comfortable with him. The Catholic services, I've been a server for the priest for the last 10 years, and I have no qualms about doing that. I've had confession, have communion, so I'm at peace with myself.
John Gacy now faces death by lethal injection. Tomorrow night we'll hear how he's the victim for being found guilty.
In the mess hall, a young chaplain with dark skin and a thin mustache meets with an inmate. Jeff approaches as the inmate departs.
Hi.
The chaplain, Adam, looks up.
Can I talk to you a sec?
He hesitates, then nods.
Absolutely.
In the chapel.
So, why do you think there's so many of us now?
You mean inmates?
No, I mean, guys like me. People they call, serial killers.
Well, I'm not sure anybody knows the answer to that.
Jeff nods with pursed lips.
Some say it's the interstate highway system, a relatively new invention in the history of this country. You can kill somebody and disappear fast. Dump the body 1,000 miles away. Or maybe it was World War II or Vietnam. Dads coming back from the war, they're traumatized, don't talk about it. They're absent, abusive, they raise troubled sons. There's also the explosion and wide availability of pornography, which wasn't the case until the 1970s.
Jeff shakes his head slightly, his lips tight.
You believe there's such a thing as just being evil?
I think you could probably guess that I do.
Jeff eyes a version of The Last Supper with dark-skinned subjects.
You know, I went to church as a little kid. And then one Halloween, I went as the devil. And something felt good about that. Then I got a little older, and I made an altar to him, the devil. And I was planning on making a life-size one. That's what I was saving a lot of the body parts for. Even in movies, like Star Wars, I always liked the bad guys more, you know?
Well, so did I. Those characters are written better.
Yeah.
What do you really want to ask me, Jeff?
Well, I was watching that John Wayne Gacy on the news. You know, people say we're the same because we both did terrible things. But I really think we're different. I admitted to everything. All of it. And Gacy still says he didn't do it. I wanted the death penalty.
Adam nods.
And he was saying that he's not afraid to die, because he's made his peace with God. And he's gonna go to heaven. So, I guess my question is, do you think God's forgiven him for all that?
Are you asking about him or about yourself, Jeff?
I don't think I deserve forgiveness for what I done.
Well, it's not about deserve, Jeff. That's the thing about grace. We don't deserve it, but we get it anyway.
He gestures to the painting.
You know, Jesus wasn't alone when he was dying on the cross. There were two criminals that were being crucified with him. And one of them said to Jesus, kind of making fun of him, he says, "Hey, if you're the Son of God, why don't you save yourself and save us while you're at it?" But the other one, he shouts this guy down, says, "Hold on, you and me, we're criminals. We're getting what we deserve. But this guy, Jesus, he didn't do nothing wrong." Then he says to Jesus, "Remember me when you come into your kingdom." And so Jesus turns to him, and you know what he says? He says, "Today, you will be with me in paradise." Jesus didn't ask him what he'd done to get crucified, didn't ask him if he was sorry. All this guy had to do to be saved was to believe that Jesus was the Son of God.
In a large church, Glenda prays.
And let us not forget, Heavenly Father, that you are a loving, merciful, and just God. And we ask that we may practice mercy and forgiveness in our own lives as you have shown mercy and forgiveness to us. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Later.
And Sandra?
She's good. About to have a second baby.
Praise the Lord. Boy or girl?
We don't know yet. We fixing to find out next week.
Well, give her my best when you see her.
I will.
So, why'd you want to see me?
Glenda sits with the pastor in the otherwise empty church.
Well, Pastor.
She takes off her glasses and turns toward him.
What you said in your closing prayer today about forgiveness, showing mercy. I mean, I know it's the Christian thing to do. When we all have fallen short. And at some point or another, we all deserve grace.
The pastor, a bald black man, nods. Glenda looks down briefly. Her eyes shine.
But when it comes to Jeff Dahmer,
she shakes her head.
I can't forgive him. Even though there may be something wrong with his brain, or he couldn't control himself.
Her lip twitches.
I can't. My heart is full of hate. Revenge. I thought him being in jail for the rest of his life would be enough. It's not.
The pastor regards her evenly. He looks down, working his jaw.
I want to see him suffer. I even have nightmares about it. And I see myself hurting him. Giving him pain. Making him beg for mercy. I'm scared, Pastor. I'm so scared. I just wish I could get past these feelings, you know, that I could stop living in vengeance. That I could get to a better place. Maybe, I don't know, maybe not forgiveness, but something close to it. Because if I keep letting hate and anger consume me, I'm not going to know myself no more.
You have a big heart, Glenda, which can be both a blessing and a curse. And you have every right to feel those feelings and think those thoughts.
But how do I make them stop?
You can't. You can't. All you can do is pray for strength and ask for God's guidance every day. And perhaps come to church a little more often.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen overnight. It just takes time. And then one day, maybe a month from now, maybe a year, you'll see Jeffrey Dahmer's face somewhere, and you won't feel a thing.
Glenda looks aside and nods. At the prison, a guard escorts Jeff to a visitation area with glass panes separating visitors from prisoners. He waves to Lionel, then sits. They each pick up handsets resembling those of payphones.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, Jeff.
How you doing?
Hey, good to see you.
You too.
You look good.
Thanks.
You look healthier.
I do?
Yeah.
Maybe it's the pills they got me on. They give me that Prozac.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, you think it helps?
Yeah, I think it helps even me out. There's no booze in here. I think that was a lot of my problem.
Yeah, I think so, too. You miss it? The drinking?
Oh, every hour, every day.
Yeah.
So, it's probably good I can't get any, you know? Yeah, I was thinking about you and Sherry. You guys should maybe go on a vacation with all that book money.
Oh, yeah, the book. Book didn't do so well, Jeff. The reviews were good, but I understand why. I think a lot of people thought that I was trying to profit from the victims and whatnot. You know, it's not true, but what are you gonna do? It's probably cursed from the beginning. So.
Yeah.
Jeff adjusts his glasses.
Something I gotta tell you, Dad. Something I'm planning on doing.
Lionel stares through the glass, his forehead creased.
I want to get baptized.
Jeff, that's wonderful, son.
I thought you'd be happy. Only problem is I don't got a baptismal tank in here, and, well, I still gotta find somebody to baptize me.
It's so great. That's so great.
And, Baptism's all about washing away all your sins. God forgiving you is one thing, and I know He can do that. But I guess what I wanted to ask you, Dad, is if you could ever forgive me.
Lionel blinks and shifts his eyes. He gives a little nod.
I will. I'll forgive you, son. I do. I have. Because you're my son.
Yeah. That's good.
Thanks, Dad.
In a large ballroom awash with dim pink light, Glenda turns toward a dance floor surrounded by circular tables. A spinning disco ball casts dots of light that circle the room. Glenda carries a plate of food past a table where several Laotian people sip from shot glasses. She approaches Sunthon.
Hey there.
Glenda, thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me. You Lao folks don't know how to throw a wedding.
Please, sit.
She joins Sunthon at his otherwise empty table.
Whiskey?
Oh, no, I'm good.
It's tradition.
He pours.
Okay.
He caps a whiskey bottle, then raises a shot glass. Glenda raises her own and takes a small sip. Sunthon downs his shot.
That is strong. Better not have too many of these, or you might not even remember your son's wedding.
They look toward Anuke, dancing with his bride.
I'm really happy for you, Sunthon. You and your family deserve this, especially after everything that's happened. Today's a good day.
Sunthon takes a slow drag on his cigarette.
I try to be happy for my family. I smile. I try to be strong. I keep waiting to feel like myself again before. But it just gets worse. Because every morning I get up and I remember Jeffrey Dahmer is still alive. But not Kunrak. Not my son.
I get it. Maybe the best we could do is just keep pretending to be strong. And eventually one day, maybe we'll forget we're pretending.
They share a long look. Sunthon's expression softens. He nods. They look toward the dance floor. A photographer snaps a photo of the newlyweds.
Come on, Sunthon. Let's get out on this dance floor and show them how it's done.
Glenda stands and smiles at Sunthon. He puts out a cigarette. At home, Shirley sits with two other victims' mothers.
Dahmer versus Jesus.
A comic book.
Is this for real?
It's the newest issue in his Jeffrey Dahmer series.
Just when you thought folks couldn't stoop any lower.
It's sick. It's like they're making him into a superhero.
Freedom of speech, my ass.
I know, girl. Though, to be honest, I'm not sure who should be offended more, us or Jesus.
So what do we do?
Say we file another lawsuit.
But we lost the last one. Aren't we just gonna lose again?
There's a chance we might.
Then is it really worth it?
Are you saying that we should just forgive and forget what Dahmer did? And allow these folks to continue to profit off of him?
Why expend all that effort to file another lawsuit if at the end of the day we lose again in court?
Because it makes a statement. It reminds people that Jeff Dahmer isn't a superhero. He's a serial killer. It also reminds them that our sons weren't just Jeff Dahmer's victims. They were real people. They lived. They sang in the choir, loved to dance, teased their sisters. They were young men who had hopes and dreams for the future. And mothers who loved them. So even if we lose in court, If we can manage to get that point across, we win without winning.
One of the mothers, Dorothy Straughter, takes Shirley's hand. The other, Mildred Lindsay, eyes the comic.
I know I'm not gonna read this, but I hope Jesus whoops Jeffrey Dahmer's ass.
Outside the prison, pale orange sunlight glows as a balding white man, Roy, parks his station wagon. He gets out, shielding his eyes. Adams and another chaplain approach.
Don't look right at it.
A solar eclipse.
Put these on.
Sunglasses.
Thanks. Really makes it hard to doubt there's a God, doesn't it? Total eclipse of the sun.
At a public execution.
The hour John Wayne Gacy's executed.
Elsewhere.
Same day, Jeffrey Dahmer's baptized.
We use this for rehabbing injuries and whatnot. Will this work?
A metal tub.
Yeah, I believe it would. Huh. Anything else you need?
I'm sorry, you're giving me everything I'm asking for. I thought this was going to be a lot harder.
Religion pacifies.
Jeff turns in his cell.
You know, Warden, I spoke to him, and I'm going to tell you what I told your chaplains here. Dahmer wants to be saved. It is genuine.
John Wayne Gacy, do you have any last words?
Lying on a table, John looks toward a gathered audience.
How about you all kiss my ass? How's that for last words?
In a cell block.
Where you going, JD?
I'm getting baptized.
Escorted by 2 guards, Jeff passes Scarver's cell. Scarver sits up. A man in a surgical gown, the executioner, brings a syringe toward an IV tube leading into John's arm. A screen monitors his heart rate. In the room with the metal tub, Jeff dons a white robe. He steps toward Adams and Roy.
Someone made that for you.
Yeah, nice, right? Some lady in Oklahoma.
The executioner gives John an injection. Lying flat, John blinks and shifts his eyes. Jeff gets into the metal tub, now filled with water. In his cell, Scarver paces, pressing his hands to his head.
Motherfucker, man.
Jeff lies back in the tub. The executioner gives John another injection.
Jeff, I baptize you in the name of the Father,
John's face goes slack.
the Son,
The moon drifts over the sun.
and the Holy Spirit, for the forgiveness of sin.
Scarver rocks back and forth.
I don't know what to do. God Almighty, Heavenly Father, you got to talk to me. You got to tell me what to do.
Roy dunks Jeff's head in the water. The executioner gives John his last injection. The moon completely eclipses the sun. John lies still with his eyes closed. Lines on his heart monitor go flat. Jeff rises out of the water. The moon drifts away from the sun. Scarver rocks in his cell with his eyes closed. A man in a white coat checks John's pulse.
Official time of death, 12:58.
The audience watches through a glass window. Jeff gets out of the tub.
Welcome to the family of God.
Adams hands him his glasses. He puts them on.
Congratulations, Jeff.
Roy grips his shoulder.
You're saved.
Thanks.
Jeff turns toward Adams.
Thank you.
Tell me, Lord, please.
A curtain closes on John.
Just tell me what I gotta do.
In Scarver's cell,
I do it.
Scarver clutches the cross on his necklace as he continues to rock. In his own cell, Jeff lies on his cot, reading the Holy Bible. Jeff looks up as Officer Kelly enters the area in front of his cell. He opens Jeff's cell door.
Work duty.
Jeff lowers his Bible. Jeff sits up and lays his Bible face down, open to a page. In the weight room, Jeff cleans dumbbells with a bearded white inmate, Jesse. Kelly watches them.
So, JD, what you gonna do with your 25 cents an hour? Blow it on porn or cigarettes?
Don't know. Probably just give it to the church.
Well, that's fucking lame.
Jeff freezes, glaring at Jesse.
You got me.
I'm just fucking with you, man.
In his cell, Scarver hangs his head. He looks up as Kelly opens the door.
Work duty.
Scarver closes his Bible and sets it aside. He exits the cell. Kelly closes the door. In the weight room, Jeff squeezes his mop in a wringer. He steps away from a cleaning cart and mops the floor. Jesse continues wiping down dumbbells. Kelly returns with Scarver.
Hey, guys are getting some help this morning.
Jeff and Kelly look over at Scarver. Jeff nods.
Sure.
Jesse gives a small shrug.
Fine by me.
Scarver takes a spray bottle and a rag from the cleaning cart. He and Jeff glance at each other. Jeff gives a little nod. Scarver averts his gaze. Jeff continues mopping. Later, Jeff uses a spray bottle on a bench press. He pauses as Scarver moves to the nearby cleaning cart. Jesse looks toward Jeff.
I'm gonna clean the locker rooms. You wanna let me in?
Okay.
Scarver shoots a look at Jeff, then follows Jesse into another room, carrying a mop and bucket. Jeff sprays the bench press and wipes it with a rag. Kelly exits the weight room. Jeff watches him and freezes. With his brow furrowed and his lips tight, Jeff shifts his eyes and faces forward. Jeff slowly continues wiping down the bench. Jeff gets to his feet.
Jesse?
Scarver emerges from the locker room. He holds the broken shaft of his mop. Blood drips off the end.
What'd you do to him?
Don't cry for him.
Blood stains Scarver's clothes.
Dude murdered his wife. Stabbed her in the face 5 fucking times and tried to pin on 2 black guys. Ain't that some shit?
He uses the broken mop to turn off the locker room lights.
But ain't nothing compared to what you did, though, Dahmer.
He points it at Jeff, then drops it. He pulls a newspaper clipping from his pocket.
So you didn't just murder them. You desecrated their bodies and cannibalized their flesh. Answer me, Dahmer!
Scarver blocks Jeff.
Did you really eat their flesh?
Yes.
And that 14-year-old boy.
He holds up the clipping.
Yes.
What made you do it? Did you enjoy it?
I was lost. I turned away from God.
So you believe in God?
Yes, I do. I've returned to God. I feel changed.
Standing close to Jeff, Scarver briefly lowers his eyes.
I believe in God, too.
A tear track shines on his cheek.
But my God is a God of vengeance. He punishes evil. Been in it for a long time. And when he can't do it himself, he sends in vessels to execute his justice. The Lord spoke to me, Dahmer. He asked me to punish you for all of them innocent lives you took and them families you destroyed. You may convince yourself that God has forgiven you.
Scarver steps closer.
But you can never escape God's wrath. It always catches up with you. Always.
Scarver buttons his collar.
See? Dahmer. I'm his vessel.
He lifts his chin.
Understand?
Jeff's chin quivers. His eyes shine.
Okay.
Scarver punches him in the face. Jeff's glasses go flying. He falls to the floor. Scarver retrieves a barbell from the far end of the room.
You like seeing a man in pain, didn't you?
He glances toward a set of windows as he strides back toward Jeff. He flips over a bench. He stoops down and grabs Jeff by the shirt.
And that 14-year-old boy, you did them horrible things to him.
I drugged him first so they wouldn't feel anything.
Jeff locks eyes with Scarver. A cut marks his lip.
Well, Dahmer, you're about to feel every second of this.
Scarver hits Jeff in the face with the barbell. Jeff's eyes shift. Jeff shudders. Scarver hits him repeatedly. Scenes flash. Jeff bludgeons Stephen Hicks. He moves a power drill toward Conrac's head. Tony lies dead on his bed. Jeff holds a severed limb. He cooks a slab of meat. In the weight room, Scarver rises off of Jeff, who lies motionless. Scarver, glistening with blood, takes a few steps back and sits on a bench. He runs a hand through his hair and looks toward the windows.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Scarver looks toward Jeff.
Amen.
Jeff lies in a pool of blood, his mangled face battered and bloodied. At home, Lionel answers the phone.
Hello? Speaking? Oh, no. Okay, we'll be right there.
In a hospital waiting room, Adams greets Lionel and Shari.
Mr. Dahmer?
Is he okay? Can we see him?
Just, I'm afraid it's bad news.
In a small room, a medical examiner writes on a clipboard. A body lies on a gurney covered by a white sheet. Adams enters and gestures to the body. Lionel steps into the doorway. Adams gestures to the examiner. The examiner lowers the blood-stained white sheet. Lionel stares at the bloody and bruised left side of Jeff's face. He steps closer, catching a glimpse of the severe wounds on the right side of Jeff's face. He reaches toward a swollen, fleshy opening glistening on Jeff's head, but quickly withdraws his hand.
God, Jeff, I'm sorry.
Lionel's face crumples. He presses a hand to his forehead, then leans over Jeff.
I love you. I've loved you since the day you were born. And I'll love you till the day that I die.
With a creased brow, Adams looks away. Lionel hugs Jeff's body. On a new day, Lionel sits in a waiting room wearing a suit. Joyce enters, also wearing a suit. She holds the door open for two people leaving. She spots Lionel and frowns. She takes a seat across from him and avoids his gaze.
What?
I didn't say a thing, did I?
Joyce checks her watch.
Mr. Dahmer? Miss Flint?
They stand. Lionel lets her pass. In an office, they meet with a dark-haired white man.
I don't understand. Jeff's body's been cremated. They sent the remains to Sherry and me 2 weeks ago.
Half his remains. The other half went to me, okay? His mother.
After your son was killed, there was, of course, an autopsy. And when they do that, you know, the body is kind of...
Dissected. Lionel knows all about that. He's who kind of sparked Jeff's interest in the subject.
You're a piece of work, aren't you, Joyce?
Guys, could we... The brain was removed to determine the cause of death. Now, Miss Flint feels that we have an opportunity here for something good to come out of all this. Scientists at Fresno State University would like to study Jeff's brain.
Hold on. I don't understand. Where's his brain been all this time? I mean, where is it now?
Madison.
In a refrigerator.
In the pathology lab at the University of Wisconsin.
Jeff's brain rests in a jar. Lionel gapes.
No way. No way.
Lionel, please, just listen for once.
He wrote a will. He said he wanted to be cremated as soon as possible. His whole body. You know, his brain's part of his body, okay? He said no open casket, no funeral, no headstone, no marker.
If you care so much about Jeff's wishes, why'd you have a memorial service for him then?
It was just a few family friends.
But not his mother.
Okay, the brain should be cremated. It should have been when the body was.
We have a chance here, Lionel, to find out why he was the way he was. Was it something he was born with? Maybe there was some small tumor somewhere?
Well, I think each of us has our own idea about why Jeff was the way he was, don't we?
Stop it, shame on you.
You know, they just did this very same thing with that John Wayne Gacy. They took out his brain and they made slides and whatnot, and you know what conclusion they reached? Perfectly normal. Well, that's what they're going to say about Jeff's brain, too.
How do you know?
Lionel and Joyce lock eyes.
Answer is no, Joyce. Never going to happen. No, I think we need to try to put this behind us. Quit dragging it out and just, you know, move on.
Lionel gets up.
Mr. Dahmer, this is something that Mrs. Flint will choose to pursue in court.
Yeah, I bet she will.
In a grocery store, Glenda shops with her grandson.
If you be good, I'm gonna let you watch cartoons when we get home, okay? All right. Let's see. I got Oreos, Chips Ahoy, and
Cookies.
Okay, well, which one you want?
All of them.
I'm gonna get you two. You know why? You're spoiled. And you know why you're spoiled? Because you ready, little rascal. Come on so you can help me put this stuff up there. You gonna be a big boy and help me?
Glenda stops by a magazine rack, eyeing cover stories about Jeff, including one that reads, Death of a Madman.
Next.
In a courtroom.
The court recognizes a rather unusual situation here. It's one I certainly never encountered before and probably won't again. We have competing interests from the two parents of the deceased. I recognize the statement of wishes of Jeffrey Dahmer. And I'm also concerned with the issue of closure. This is a rather evil chapter in our human existence, so to speak. I believe it would be beneficial to the public and all concerned that there be closure and that this matter is resolved once and for all and we move on. Therefore, I hereby order the brain to be destroyed.
Joyce hangs her head. Lionel nods slightly. At the lab, someone removes Jeff's brain from the refrigerator.
I also have to say, I object to the very nature of this inquiry.
They package it.
When one considers an individual like the deceased, there is a temptation to try to know and know definitively why someone like Jeffrey Dahmer is what he is or was.
In a crematorium.
I think there's a real danger there.
A man lowers a face shield.
There are no easy answers when it comes to someone like him.
He turns on a cremator machine.
You'll never know why he did what he did.
The man slides the package containing Jeff's brain into the flames.
That's an uncomfortable truth, to be sure, but it's one you need to accept.
In the courtroom, Joyce regards the judge with a tense brow. Lionel gazes off. In the crematorium, the flames consume Jeff's brain. The scene blurs. In an office, Glenda meets with a dark-haired East Asian woman.
Thank you for seeing me today, Miss Yang.
Of course, and I appreciate your patience, Miss Cleveland. I realize we had to reschedule a few
7.
times. I'm sorry?
7 times. That's how many times your office rescheduled this meeting. But it's okay. Like all those times I called the cops on Dahmer, I'm used to having to be persistent.
So, Miss Cleveland, how can I help you today?
Well, I wanted to see how the progress was on the park.
The park?
Mm-hmm. The park memorial. I was told that the city was planning to turn the old Oxford Apartments on 25th into a park after it was demolished. So I wrote your office a letter saying y'all ought to make the park a memorial to Dahmer's victims. And you wrote me back a real nice letter, signed your name and everything, saying that you would look into it.
Yes, right.
So anyway, I'm here on behalf of some of the victims' families to get an update. And I walked past there the other day, and it's still a vacant lot. I mean, it's been nearly 2 years.
So I'm checking our system, and it seems we're still waiting on some permit approvals.
How long do those take?
Well, it's hard to say until Public Works finishes its safety inspection, which they can't start until the city planning department starts their inspection.
Ms. Yang, all we are asking for is a damn park. That shouldn't be that hard. We're not asking you to build a Taj Mahal.
Miss Cleveland, building anything in the city, it involves a lot of red tape. I realize it's frustrating. But can I be honest? There are a lot of people here who don't want to build anything on that lot. They just as soon forget what happened.
Not everybody can forget. Y'all demolished the building, but that don't erase what happened. It only erases the victims. And all we are asking is that y'all put something on that site that honors their memory. It's the right thing to do. It's the decent thing to do.
Miss Yang tightens her lips.
So will you please discuss this with your supervisor or whomever can do something?
Absolutely. And I will do everything in my power to help expedite that process. But from my experience, these things take time, and I'm afraid that you and the families are probably gonna have to wait a little longer.
Glenda looks down and nods.
Well, that's all right, Miss Yang. Because I'm used to waiting.
Elsewhere.
I am determined to see this through. For the victims. For the families. I ain't gonna let Jeff Dahmer and his evil be the only thing folks remember. As long as I have breath, I'll keep waiting.
Glenda gazes across the street at the empty lot where the Oxford Apartments once stood. She walks away. Text appears over black. No park or memorial to Jeffrey Dahmer's victims was ever built on the site of the Oxford Apartments. Photos of Jeff's 17 victims appear. Stephen Hicks, 18 years old, June 18, 1978. Stephen Twomey, 24 years old, November 20th, 1987. James Dockstader, 14 years old, January 16th, 1988. Richard Guerrero, 22 years old, March 24th, 1988. Anthony Sears, 24 years old, March 25th, 1989. Raymond Smith, 32 years old, May 20th, 1990. Edward Smith, 27 years old, June 1990. Ernest Miller, 23 years old, September 1990. David Thomas, 22 years old, September 24th, 1990. Curtis Straughter, 17 years old, February 1991. Errol Lindsay, 19 years old, April 7th, 1991. Tony Hughes, 31 years old, May 24th, 1991. Conorak Synthosmophone, 14 years old, May 27th, 1991. Matt Turner, 20 years old, June 30th, 1991. Jeremiah Weinberger, 23 years old, July 5th, 1991. Oliver Lacey, 24 years old, July 15th, 1991. Joseph Bredehoft, 25 years old, July 19th, 1991. The pictures fade. The title appears. Dahmer. Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. Audio description provided by International Digital Center. Written by Stephen Christopher. Voiced by Amanda Bruton. Credits. Directed by Paris Barkley. Written by Ian Brennan and David McMillan and Riley Smith and Todd Kubrak. Created by Ryan Murphy and Ian Brennan. Starring Evan Peters, Richard Jenkins, Molly Ringwald, and Niecy Nash. Executive producers Ryan Murphy, Ian Brennan, Alexis Martin Woodall, Eric Covton, Evan Peters, Janet Mock. Co-executive producers Scott Robertson, Sarah Stellwagen, Tanasi Popa, supervising producer David McMillan, consulting producer Rashad Robinson, producers Todd Nenninger, Lou Eyrick, Todd Kubrak, Riley Smith, Regis Kimball, Richard Jenkins. Produced by Matthew Hart. Co-producer Scott James. Associate producer Kathia Sanchez Aldana. Director of photography John Thomas Connor. Production designer Matthew Flood Ferguson. Edited by Curtis Thurber. Score composed and performed by Nick Cave and Warren Ellis. Casting by Robert J. Ulrich, CSA. Eric Dawson, CSA. Carol Kritzer, CSA. Copyright 2022 Netflix. Logos. Prospect Films. Ryan Murphy Television.
A red letter N unfolds into a spectrum of colors.